Welcome to Haunted Horizons, where the shadows whisper, the doors creak open on their own, and reality itself is never as it seems. Tonight, we bring you a tale that is more than just a ghost story. It's a warning, a curse that has been whispered about in the darkest corners of the internet. They say, if you hear it, one slow knock, followed by two fast ones, you must never, under any circumstance, answer. Because once you do, you don't disappear. You become part of it. This is They Knock Twice, the legend that doesn't just haunt places, but haunts you. Turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't answer the knocking. There are some things we're told never to do. Never whistle in the woods at night. Never say a ghost's name out loud. Never answer the door if you hear two knocks at 3:33 a.m. Because if you do, you will never be seen again. Part 1. The First Knock. It was a cold January night when Ethan Reeves first heard about the legend. He and his friends were swapping ghost stories at a house party, laughing, drinking, throwing out stories they had read online. But then someone mentioned the two knocks. It happens at 3:33 a.m. You hear two knocks, one slow, one fast. If you open the door after the second knock, silence fell over the group. You disappear. But people say, you don't really disappear. Ethan rolled his eyes. That's stupid. What's supposed to happen? The girl who told the story hesitated. The person who answered, they become the next one knocking. A few people laughed it off, but Ethan saw the look on her face. She wasn't joking. That night, he couldn't stop thinking about it. At 3:32 a.m., he sat on the edge of his bed, heart pounding, waiting, and then, right on time, knock. A slow, deliberate knock against his apartment door. Knock, knock. The second knock came quicker, like it was impatient, like it was waiting. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. His hand moved toward the doorknob, then stopped. Seconds passed. Silence. He peeked through the peephole. No one was there. Part 2. The Vanished. The next morning, Ethan searched online for They Knock Twice. No Wikipedia page, no ghost forums, nothing but a few old Reddit threads with missing posts. It was like the internet was trying to forget it. But then, buried in a forgotten corner of the web, he found a post. My brother heard the two knocks. He answered. We called the cops when he vanished. They checked the security camera. No one was there. But my brother's voice whispered through the audio, don't let them in. Ethan's stomach twisted. He went back to the party house, asking around. Had anyone else heard of it? One guy hesitated. His cousin had vanished last year. The only clue? His phone was found at his doorstep. The last thing he typed before it went silent, they're knocking. That night, Ethan did something reckless. He set up his phone camera, pointing it at the door, and he waited. At exactly 3:33 a.m., it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. His phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. Answer. Part 3. The Ones Who Knock. Ethan never answered. He moved out a week later, blocked the number, burned the phone, but the knocking followed him. It wasn't just at 3:33 a.m. anymore, it was random. When he was home, alone. When he was in the shower. Sometimes it came from inside the apartment. His friends noticed he wasn't the same. His eyes looked hollow. He stopped answering his phone. Stopped going outside after dark. One night, his best friend Ben got worried and went to his apartment. The lights were on, the door unlocked. Ethan was sitting on the couch, staring at the front door. Ben stepped inside. Ethan? Ethan didn't blink, didn't move. Then, knock, knock, knock. Ben froze. His body screamed at him to run. But then, he saw something that made his stomach drop. Ethan's lips were moving. He was whispering, "Don't let them in." Ben turned and ran. When he came back the next morning, the apartment was empty. Ethan was gone. Only one thing remained, a note on the door, scrawled in shaking handwriting, "You don't disappear. You just take their place." Part 4. The final warning. They still knock. People all over the world have started hearing them. At first, it was just at 3:33 a.m. Then, it became random. Some heard it in hotel rooms, some in their childhood homes, some in places that never had doors. Most people don't answer, but someone always does. And when they do, the curse continues. If you ever hear 2 knocks, one slow, one fast, do not open the door, because if you do, you will be the next one knocking. Art 5. The door that opens. No one knows what happens if you step outside after the second knock. No one who has ever opened the door has come back. But there are theories. Some say the person who knocks isn't human anymore, that they were once like you, until the curse changed them. They are trapped between worlds, forced to knock, waiting for someone to take their place. Others believe the door doesn't open to the outside world at all, that the moment you twist the handle, you step into something else. A place where there is no time, no light, only the sound of knocking in the dark. A few believe the curse is spreading faster now, that the knocks are coming in broad daylight, that the ones who vanish are still here, watching from the edges of your vision, waiting for you to listen. So if you hear it, knock, 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 whatever you do, do not answer. Part 6. The final night. One last report surfaced. A man named Daniel Harris lived alone in an isolated cabin, far from the city. He had never heard of "They Knock Twice" until he did. He recorded his last entry in his journal. "It's not just the knocking, it's the whispers now. I hear them outside, calling my name. I see shadows moving between the trees. They know I'm alone. They know I'm afraid." That night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., he sent a final message to his brother. "If I don't answer tomorrow, don't look for me. Just don't listen to the knocking." Daniel was never seen again. His cabin, still there. His door, still locked from the inside. But if you visit the place at night, some say you can still hear it. Knock, 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 and if you listen too long, you won't leave either. Part 7. The Last Witness. They thought Daniel Harris was the last one. They were wrong. A week after his disappearance, hikers found his cabin untouched. No signs of forced entry, no struggle, nothing out of place, except for a series of footprints in the snow. Footprints leading to the door, but none leading away. The search team reported strange whispers when they got too close. One officer claimed he saw movement through the window, even though the house was empty. Then, someone made a mistake. They knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. The whispers stopped. The air went still. Then, from inside the locked cabin, "Come in." The survivor's testimony. Only one person from the search team came back. Detective Marshall Crane. The others, they vanished. Marshall doesn't talk about that night. He doesn't answer interviews, doesn't return phone calls. But one journalist caught him alone outside a diner, muttering to himself, The only thing he would say was this: "It's not just a ghost. It's not a curse. It's a door to somewhere else. We keep opening it. We keep feeding it. And now it's spreading." He refused to say more. But before he left, the journalist swore he heard him whisper something under his breath. "It's already here." A world full of knocking. The legend has changed. The knocks aren't just at 3:33 a.m. anymore. They aren't just at home. They're everywhere now. People report hearing knocking sounds inside their cars when they drive alone at night. Office workers hear it from empty cubicles long after everyone has gone home. A woman in an airport bathroom claimed she heard it from the inside of the mirror. And the worst part? Some people are answering. Every week, more disappearances go unsolved. No sign of struggle, no evidence left behind, only open doors. And a second pair of footsteps walking away. The final warning: if you hear it, one slow, one fast, do not answer. If you think you're safe because you didn't open the door, think again. Because now, they don't need you to open it. Now, they are already inside. And soon, you'll be the one knocking. Part 8. The Final Night. The knocking has spread. It is no longer bound by time or place. It follows people into their dreams. It waits in the silence between breaths. It lingers in the dark corners of empty rooms. And now, it's about to claim its final victim. The night of the broadcast. In a desperate attempt to stop the spread, a small group of researchers, paranormal investigators, and digital archivists gathered for a live broadcast. They called it the Final Warning. Their goal? To document the truth before they too disappeared. At exactly 3:30 a.m., the live stream went live. Thousands tuned in. One of the hosts, Dr. Evelyn Moore, spoke into the camera, her voice trembling. "We have been tracking the disappearances. We know where the knock started. We know what happens if you answer. But what we don't know," she swallowed hard, "is how to stop it." A co-host, Jared Lane, leaned forward. "We need to know if it's intelligent, if it's aware of us talking about it." And then the knocking started. Knock, knock, knock. The camera flickered. The chat exploded. "Did you hear that? Who knocked? This is fake, right?" But the team sat frozen, because the sound had not come from the door. It had come from inside the room. The moment it took over, the camera feed glitched, the video distorted. For exactly 6 seconds, the live stream showed something no one could explain. A figure standing behind the team. Featureless, faceless, silent. Then, static. The screen went black. The broadcast never came back. Authorities found the room empty. The recording equipment was still running, but the team was gone. The only sound left in the recording was a whisper. "It doesn't need doors anymore." The final horror. That was 3 days ago. And now, something terrifying has begun. People who watched the live stream have started hearing knocks. One viewer reported knocking from inside their phone speaker. Another heard it through their headphones. A woman in New York swears she heard it coming from her own reflection. And the worst part? A new video has appeared online. A blurry, silent recording of the last 6 seconds of the broadcast. Except, the figure in the background is getting clearer, and sooner or later, it will find you. Part 9. The Final Moment. The knocking has won. It no longer needs to be heard to spread. It is inside the silence now. It waits in the space between heartbeats, in the emptiness between thoughts. You don't have to hear the knocks anymore. because it already knows you're listening. And now, there is no way back. The last file. The video resurfaced one last time. The grainy, corrupted footage of the final 6 seconds of the broadcast. Except this time, the figure was not blurry. It was clear, defined. It had a face now, and it was looking directly at the camera. Forensic analysts tried to extract details from the footage. The moment they zoomed in, the entire server crashed. Hard drives wiped. Backup data erased. The analysts swore they heard something through their headphones before the files disappeared. Knock, knock, knock. Then the screen went black. The last message. A single email was sent from the account of Dr. Evelyn Moore, one of the missing researchers. It contained no subject, no greeting, just a single line of text. You were warned. The email account was deleted seconds later. No trace of it remained. But that's not the terrifying part. Attached to the email was a single audio file, a 7-second clip labeled Final Message .wave. The first 2 seconds, silence. Then, a voice, distorted, hollow, familiar. It's your turn now. And then, knock, knock, knock. The clip ends. The final reality. The knocking is no longer a legend. It is no longer a story passed from person to person. It is a presence, a force, a hunger. And now, it is watching. You don't have to open the door anymore, because now it's already inside. And soon, you will be the one knocking.